been many, many years since I first saw you guys live, and I've never forgotten the Electric Boys. That first tour of the UK, I was there, and then I saw you a few times when you supported Thunder. But
Yes.
you're still making fantastic music today.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I
we try. And as long as it's fun, as long as it feels like we're changing a little bit, I mean, it still sounds like us, but as long as you feel like you're improving, at least for yourself, then
yeah,
there's no point doing anything else. I don't know. What else should I do? What could I do? I don't know.
maybe tennis.
Tennis, yeah. I used to be good, not anymore.
Yeah. I love the new EP. I got sent the new EP to have a look at, and I always remember when I reviewed Grand Expert the last album, Grand Expert
Yeah,
Evos.
explosivos. Yes.
I got some lovely feedback from the band about maybe wanting to come down to Australia. Well, let's hope it's not too late in the career to get you down because
No, we'd love
you,
to. It's just kind of far away, and it would be quite unfair to do it. I mean, I guess we just need someone over there who's fan enough to start the whole process, you know. But I'd love to. Of
um,
course, I'd love to.
let me work on it. I'll work on it. The
Thank you.
new EP was fantastic. It sounds very much like the last album. Was it a case of the ones that didn't make it?
I guess you could say so, but it's not that we didn't think that they were good enough. We actually had a real hard time. Picking the running order for it. All we knew was we didn't want the album to be too long because we don't like too long albums, and we thought it doesn't hurt to have a few extra tracks for bonus for something. And well, as it turned out, it became an EP, but it was just the way the sequencing was put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and. It ended up being these songs that was left over, but it could have been other songs as well. If I would have done it today, maybe I would have picked other songs. I don't know, but then we somebody said that hang on, we have those extra tracks, and when we listened to them, we were like, shit, this is actually quite good. So let's get it out.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I love them. And I guess when you make an album, some bands go in and just do the bare minimum, and others, it's a really hard decision to decide what to put on there. If I can, I'd love to sort of like take you back in time. I'm not sure how familiar the people in Australia are with the Electric Boys, but it's my mission to make them more familiar with you guys
yes,
because
go for it.
one of my favorite bands over the years. My only problem with the new EP is that it's digital only. And as someone who's tracked down all of your stuff on vinyl over the years,
Yeah,
I've got a hole in my collection now.
yeah, I know. It's a bit. It's not only. It's not only us. It's also a matter of record companies and I guess EP might not be the thing you want to put money into in the first place.
Yeah,
I think most people feel that a proper like a full length vinyl or CD
yeah,
is more valuable or something like that. I mean, if you release a new album, then you can go on tour on top of that. If you release an EP, it might be more like something in between,
yeah.
just as a filler. I don't know.
I mean,
But also, we want to do the songs. So, I mean, the gigs we're doing now, we're recording all of them because we want to
oh wow, okay,
make a live album. I mean, for us, all are great. Our favorite bands, they all had the fold
yeah,
out live albums. So it's like we always said we at some point we gotta have one of those. And so I much rather I prefer the record company spending money on making that happen than I mean
absolutely.
maybe the
So
EP. I don't know.
so would I. One of my favorite live albums ever, I think, was by a band that You and Andy played in a few years ago, the Hanoi Rocks. I absolutely love their live album. It's like one I've cherished over the years, and to see you guys play with who were probably the first band that I really got into, like myself. I remember I used to escape out of my bedroom window, climb onto the roof of the garage, and escape into the city to go and see Hanoi Rocks back in the day.
Yeah.
And I did that three times without being caught. And they were some of my favorite, they were some of my favorite memories of music. But later on, when you guys came to the UK and played those tours, there was the same excitement there. And I just felt that it was a case of um, maybe timing because of the fact that the second album came out in 1992. But one of my top five records ever is the Electric Boys Swedish edition of the first album, which is 26 years old. Incredible number this year. One of the things I've always wanted to ask you, and I'm so surprised we haven't spoken over the years, is the re-recording of that for the US. How did that feel so, I guess so soon after putting the songs down in the first place? Because it was the next year
It,
that that came out.
it was actually our idea. It's not like they didn't
Hmm.
think it was good enough. It was the opposite. It was that we felt like the new song, we were uh, improving quite fast, and we were touring all the time over here. And I think me as a songwriter, especially lyrically, was improving a lot. So when I wrote those new songs, we just felt like, oh, this is much better than some of the stuff on the first one. And I've, we brought it up, and the discussion went like, okay, so who would you like to work with? And one of us said Bob Rock, because he was the shit, and still is, I guess. I don't know what he's doing now, but I mean, we loved his work. So it was just thrown out in the air, and all of a sudden I get a phone call. It's like, hi, this is Bob Rock. I'm like, what? And yeah, so, and he actually said that um, I've listened to Lips and Hips. I think it's really good. I don't know what you need me for, but so he misunderstood it first. We were like, no, no, we don't. We're not gonna change that, but we want to record some new stuff with you. And it's like, oh, now I get it. Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And then yeah, so we did five new songs and took away some of the old ones.
Yeah, I mean, I still love. I think it's nostalgia that gets you, and like hearing that first album first, it was always those songs that completely captivated me. But to
It's
me,
been it's been it's been said that maybe you can always go back and try to be smart about things, but you never know. But it's been said that maybe we should have just released it as it was and have Bob make the Groovus, I mean, record the Groovus Maximus album
yeah,
and moved on faster, because there was a delay there between Funk Helicopter and Groovus Maximus, which wasn't perfect, because we got a big hype around Lips and Hips first, and then if we would have been a little bit faster, it would have been better. But it took about 2 years or something, because we our standards were so high. At least, well, that's how we looked at it. But we wanted the next album to be really strong, and of course, with the first album, you have a lot of time. Those songs have been collected over a few years. So, me being the only songwriter at that time, I'm writing another album that we felt needs to be just as good. And it took that time. Yeah.
yeah. Groovus Maximus, though, to me was monumental when I first heard it. It was so huge, and it's probably Mm, I don't know. It's hard. It's like one of the few follow-up albums that I see as equally as good as its predecessor. It's the songs on there. It's just the sort of album I want to tell people about and get them to play because the songs. I listened to it the other day and thought this is even better than I remember hearing it.
Oh, that's good.
And I probably played it just a couple of years before that.
Yeah.
But it was a strange time for music in those days. I mean, there were plenty of funk rock bands, but I don't think there were any that sort of had the sort of rock and roll attitude that you guys did. A lot of it was a lot smoother and
Yeah,
less rock and roll. Um,
yeah.
but
It's funny, this funk thing. I mean, for us, it came from listening to Betty Davis, Undisputed Truth, Sly and the Family Stone, all
really,
that, Mother's Finest, and all sorts
yeah,
of stuff like that. But then it became a thing, you know. Uh, and I mean, we got ourselves to blame because the first album was called Funk or Metal Copyright, but uh, we always thought it was kind of funny because when you look at Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and all
yeah,
those bands,
yeah.
they have had lots of stuff that was really funky. So it's not like it was new or anything, but for some reason the combination of things we did at that time felt fresh to people, I guess, and that's all about timing. I mean, and luck, because when we were in Sweden, most bands were singing in Swedish, and it was very pop. I would say Sweden is not a rock country, not from the beginning.
Yeah.
Finland is. They had the Hurricanes and but I mean, what do we have? Like Roxette and ABBA. It's like it's different things,
Yeah.
uh, which is great, but it's different. And where am I going with this? What was I going to say?
It was the funk thing, the whole funk thing.
Yeah, the funk thing. And so yeah, people picked up on that. And then when me and Andy, the bass player, when we went to UK and America to try again a management early on, when we came to Phonogram in New York, I think it was, then a girl said that, oh, you gotta, this funk thing is really cool because we're just releasing this album with Dan Reed Network.
Yeah.
So she gave us that. We listened to it on the way home, and we thought it was really good. But it was fun. That was the two. That's the only one that we knew of at that time who was doing like what people said, mixing rock with funk.
And it was sort of
But
very
then
different.
I'm sure there was more bands, but not that we knew of. And then they got started being more bands doing. For for whatever reason, but and so we got a bit tired of the all the clean funky guitars, so that's why we ended up doing freewheeling, which was a bit heavier and more 70s hard
It
rock or
it
riff
was it,
oriented, I
it was a
guess.
fantastic album. I love that one as well. Very very hard to get hold of at the time. Though I remember going to a record shop and it was pretty hard to get. One of my favorite bands, as I mentioned before, ever was Hanoi Rocks, and to see you guys
Mm.
join them, how was that for you? I mean, what was your relationship with Hanoi before? I think 2005 when you sort of came on board with Andy.
Uh, am I gonna get a free Coca-Cola endorsement now?
Yeah,
Uh, well, the thing was that when I was still a teenager, I think we had a trio called Road Rats, with Jip Casino as
no,
being the drummer
that's
from
brilliant.
from
Yeah.
the original Hanoi Rocks drum, and we ended up supporting Hanoi. I wonder when this was. This was with Russell, obviously. So maybe 84, 80, 86. I don't know, something like that. And so yeah, so we toured with them in Finland, and then so we got. That's when I got to know Andy and the guys, and Andy said we gotta play together at some point. And so when this actually came up, when was it? 2004,
2005, I think. Yeah.
4 or 5, and I thought, yeah, of course, let's do it. It'd be great fun for a year or so. That's what I was thinking. It might
Yeah.
might not last forever, but if we just do it for some time, it'd be great. But it ended up being 4.5 years, and he said, I went over to Finland and we were trying out some songs and stuff, and then he said, hey, what's Andy? I mean, our Electric Boy's Andy. What's he's doing nowadays? Well, I don't know. yeah, he should be in Hannah Rocks too, man. So I'm like, oh, okay. So my son and half Electric Boys was in Hannah Rocks, but we had a great time. I mean,
Yeah,
4.5 years
it
to
was
Hannah
great.
Rocks. Of course, it was great.
I
We
only
did
met and
some fun stuff,
you,
Japan and Europe,
yeah,
basically.
you do a really good Andy. I only met Andy once. He came to Australia as part of Bam Margera, like a Bam Margera thing a few years back, and he was on stage and they were playing covers. And one of the songs I always remember he played was "Wild Horses" by the Stones.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was absolutely mesmerized. And then afterwards, no one knew who he was. It was crazy. And afterwards, he was just stood by the merch stand, and there was this really big guy with him. I guess his minder, and I said, "Is it okay if I go and say hello to Andy?" And I couldn't understand what he said. His accent was so thick, but it was
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments of recent years.
It's actually pretty cool because I don't speak Finnish. I know a few words, only the words that Andy taught me, basically, which is yeah, not words we should talk about here, maybe. But so I hear him speak English, and he speaks. I mean, he grew up in Sweden, so he speaks. That's I guess it's his mother tongue, really.
Hmm.
And then they moved back to Finland. But anyway, but the crew who spoke in Finnish as well, they said that he really speaks like his own language. I mean, whether it's English or Swedish or Finnish, it sounds like Andy McCoy,
That's
which is
brilliant.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That sounds cool. One of the things I always wanted to ask you, Connie, is where did it all begin for you? Like many musicians get into music in very different ways, but was there like a defining moment when you were young when you thought, that's what I've got to do? Or was it like a more gradual thing?
Uh, it was actually I have to blame my mother's sister's neighbors because there was two guys living in her house that one of them he had a guitar and stuff, but he couldn't really play. But he was really interested in the technology. The he used to buy these little kits making like echo machines and disco flashing disco lights and stuff. So he would invite me in and say, "You gotta come check this out." And then he was making all these psychedelic echo effects with the lights flashing, and I'm in there like 11 years old, going, "What the hell is going on here?" So that was that guy. But then the other guy, he was a riff guitar player. He showed me the that was the first electric guitar riff I learned, "Sweet Jane" by Lou Reed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he took me when I came to visit my mom's sister, I would hear him play when I came from the bus because he had the windows open and he was playing like really loud in his flat. And I thought it was so cool. And it took me to the rehearsal place, which was even louder, of course. And I was like blown away. So those two guys probably had the most influence. Like I really wanted to do more of that. And I started taking lessons when I was 11 or 12 or something like that. I tried earlier, but all the lessons were busy.
Yeah.
So I played trumpet for a while. I know Ronnie Dio said that he did the same,
He
and he said
did,
that
yeah.
really helped his singing. I'm like, it didn't help me. Shit, I don't know. But
He did.
yeah, but then I got into all the 70s great rock bands, and I was at that age where the whole glam rock scene
Yeah.
exploded in the UK with the Bowie and Motta Hooper's, Slade, T-Rex, all those
Fantastic.
bands. Yeah,
Yeah.
which it
And
was really good music. I mean, great songs.
oh, they were.
Slade.
They were.
Yeah,
And like bands like The Sweet and stuff like that, who like I
yeah.
mean, still going around some absolutely great music from that era, and I can sort of like see that a little bit. one of the best things I think about your band, the Electric Boys, is since you reformed, I think back in 2011, the albums have just been great. I love stuff like Ghostwood Diaries, but I think you've peaked again. Like Grand Explosivos was, for me, my album of the last 10 years. It sounded as good as you did back in the day, but yet somehow fresh. Now, whether that was because we haven't heard stuff like that for a while or not, I don't know. But the songs are there. I mean, you must still feel inspired.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Are you?
And that's going back to what always what I said in the beginning. As long
Mm.
as there's songs coming up that inspires me and the band, then we'll we'll do another album, I guess. If I didn't feel like that, if I couldn't come up with any songs that didn't inspire me to begin with, then what's the point?
I
But
even
luckily, they keep coming so far. So
yeah. Even if
I
you
say they keep coming because it's like I really I'm pretty shit with sitting down and trying to write a hit. I mean, some people can.
yeah.
They I don't know how they do it. They go by some rules and some you know. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen that way. I play and then all of a sudden like, oh, what's this idea? That might turn into something. And and some songs come. I mean, usually the songs that end up being the songs that people are singing along to at the gigs are really easy. I
Mm.
mean, to write. I guess that's why they end up being singles because
Yeah.
there's something obvious about them. I guess
So
you
how does
can.
yeah, how does it come to you? I mean, you mentioned you can't sit down and just write it. Does it just drop in on you from out there? Do you?
No, but I mean, if I'm playing, I guess if I'm sitting there playing guitar, and then you come up with ideas, and it used to be that there was always a riff that started everything, like in the early days. But nowadays, uh, quite often actually comes from a lyric. Like
Okay.
uh, if I come up with some title, "Better Safe Than Sober," for instance, and it's like, okay, how could I do this? Turn this into and better safe than sober. I'd rather drink than drive. Yeah, I mean, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe it's something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it can come from a lyric as well.
There's been some wonderful songs over the years. I was just listening to "When Life Treats You Funky"
Yeah.
before we spoke, which I love. So absolutely, a great song. And "She Wants My Soul" as well is one that like I've been playing a lot of recently. Where did that one come from? I'd love to ask you about that.
Which one is it?
I think it's "She Wants My Soul." No,
No. What? I
what am
wonder
I
what you think
thinking of?
about.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think what I'm thinking of. I'll edit that bit out. But
Yeah.
I bought your solo album as well
Yeah.
a little while back, the one that wasn't sung in English. Um,
Psychonaut.
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 Are you looking at doing? Is it all Electric Boys these days, or are you looking at
I actually I did a couple of solo albums in Swedish as well, and next year it's 10 years since the first one, and that got really good reviews in Sweden. So in April, I'm gonna do like a 10 year thing with and play the whole album. But that's gonna be over here, of course. That's it. It's in Swedish.
yeah,
But I was thinking to, because some people asked about Psychonauts, so I was thinking to do that and then do like a long encore with stuff from Psychonaut because I haven't done that since back then, pretty much.
yeah, yeah,
Because
quite.
when someone mentioned it, I listened to it, and it does have some good stuff on it, so it could be fun.
You've got quite a lot of dates as well planned. What who are you going out? Let's give those a plug. When are you going out and who are you playing with?
Well, right, we don't have that much now. Right now, we do. We're just doing 5 shows in Sweden, which is
Mm.
going to be the gigs that we recorded live album. because we want our own backline and stuff. But then for the summer, and we're things are being booked as we speak. So I don't have anything
Mm.
definite, but there's talk about like what's it called, like co-bills and maybe some festivals, and we started working with an American management as well,
Okay.
and they involved an agent in Germany. So we see where all that goes. It feels really exciting, you know. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna come out some good stuff from it. But yeah, man, we just wanna keep touring, you know.
It's good to be busy, and it looks like I'm going to have to, unless we can get you over here, it looks like I'm going to have to travel to Europe to catch you again. It's
I'd rather come to you guys. I've never been there, so
No, it's
it's,
funny because I'm talking to a couple of bands about coming here, and like bands that have never ever toured Australia before. So I've got a promoter that I'm in the ear of at the moment, trying to convince him to bring out a few bands. And
yes,
I think, yeah, because you have like when you're on Phonogram, when the first album came out, there were releases in Australia as well, and the second and third album both came out over here as well. So
yeah,
people, yeah, people know of you, which is fantastic. And with the new music as well being so good, like it's a perfect opportunity to get you out. Um, there's a couple of questions we ask people the first time we speak to them, and I'd love to hear your responses to those. The first one is if you could have been a fly on the wall for the creation of any great album in the history of rock and roll, what would you love to have
oh,
seen being made?
um, there's there's many, but the first one that came to my mind is because I saw something about it on Instagram a couple of days ago. It said Access Boulders Love,
Yeah,
because last time I heard that album, it's it still feels futuristic. So many years later, and it still feels like music in the future. It's
yeah.
really amazing. How the hell did they come up with all that stuff and make it sound that way? That would have been interesting.
It's a wonderful album, and I was actually talking to Eric Gales the other day. I don't know if you know the blues
Yeah,
guitarist, and
yeah,
he
it's
said
great.
that he says that that's his favorite Hendrix
Yeah,
album. And I think it's mine as
yeah,
well. I mean, I love them all. I love Electric Lady. I
yeah.
love the debut, but for me, there's something I don't know what it is, but there's something extra special about Axis that
There's a lot of psychedelic
yeah,
shit going on. That is, I guess that's what makes it sound like futuristic to me.
yeah.
It's like somebody landed from another planet or something.
I
No,
think
it's great. But then again, you know, made in Japan, that would have been fun. And there's a lot of great music, man.
that's great. I mean, one of the
Thankfully.
ones I would have loved to have been there for was it exciting? You can actually answer this one for me. Was this one?
Yeah,
How was that? I
first
mean,
one.
like I know you recorded at Abbey Road and places like that, but what was it like to do that first one?
Uh, it was great. Obviously, it was our first album, so everyone was like really prepared and excited.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you had all
that
the
was
songs.
done in Sweden,
Yeah.
but it was done in a soundtrack, really good studio with a great engineer. And I don't know what to say. I just remember it as great times. But what is interesting is that in those days I mean, we had birds and sitars and backwards guitars and all sorts of shit on there. And nowadays, it's all in the computer. You just
Yeah.
push a button and you get all those sounds. I literally had to find a sitar, and we had to like turn the tapes over like Hendrix and those guys used to do to make it go backwards. And the bird noises, I recorded them myself, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's like but that was the fun of it. That's
Yeah.
that's more like making art than pushing a button, hearing
It is.
words, you know.
I always remember when I heard the first side of that album, which has got everything on psychedelic eyes, all licks and hips, electrified, all that sort of stuff. Turning it over, and then it was actually my favorite for many years. Hallelujah, I'm on fire. I just thought that was the song that just really hit me. The
Yeah.
first song on side B. Fantastic. Let's leave you with an easy one, Connie. We ask everyone this the first time we speak to them. What is the meaning of life?
It would have to be to make the most of it. I mean, to enjoy it. It would be the simple. Whatever it, you know, to follow your instincts and your gut feeling and try to do things that make you feel good and not uh, hang around with people that take energy from you and, you know, like bad vibes and stuff. Just, you know, very spiritual there. Difficult, but no, but try
Yeah,
enjoy life as much as possible and be nice to people.
yeah, I think you're
It
right.
would be, yeah.
It can be simple.
It's a crazy world right now, and a bit of love and respect wouldn't hurt.
And be around people who reinforce that positive feeling as well, I think. It's no time to be around negativity. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to the Rock Pit today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Don't know why it's taken us so long. We've been around 16 years. I've enjoyed all your albums, and it's the first time I've reached out to say, "Hey, can we talk to Connie?" But I've really enjoyed myself and really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's talk again soon.
Let's do, and let's get
Yeah,
you down here as well.
yeah, man.
Thanks, my friend.
Take care.
Take
Thanks
care.
a lot.